and welcome to the world of NekoDecoPop. Today we're going to be breaking down all of my top 10 favorite anime of 2025. Now, we've been going through an anime renaissance over the last couple years, but 2025 might just be the strongest year yet. I am someone who is very stingy about my ratings, and it's honestly a miracle if a year can squeeze out a singular 10 out of 10 from me. 2025 squeezed out 2. From mixed media masterpieces which helped push the boundaries of what anime can be, to anime that helped revitalize entire genres from the dead. 2025 will go down as one of the best years of anime in our generation. It was honestly really hard to narrow down to a top 10, so you best believe that the honorable mentions category is very vibrant, because I couldn't just not mention some of these masterpieces. As always, ya girl is a professional yapper and severely had to censor herself for YouTube, so if you'd like to see the full uncensored director's cut, it is now available on my Patreon, which you can scan for here or click in the description. So with all that being said, let's get into it. Kicking off with number 10, we have Takopi's Original Sin. Woof. Okay, so we're gonna start out here. Let me just begin by saying this anime is not for the faint of heart. It's one of the more tragic and heartbreaking anime that I've ever seen, and involves SI, attempts, bullying, DV, neglect, and abuse. And all of this is happening to 9-year-olds. If you have triggers around any of those topics, this is going to be one to proceed with the utmost caution. The first episode is a crash course where you are violently thrown into the deep end and see just how tragic and heartbreaking all of these characters' lives are. Shizuka is severely neglected by her mother, severely abused by her classmate, isolated in her pain, and stripped of everything that brought her joy. Her bully, Marina, is in her own version of hell, watching her family fall apart at the seams and being on the receiving end of her mother's abuse, as her mother becomes more and more disconnected from reality. Naoki is being suffocated under the pressure his mother forces upon him, and is mistreated and neglected if he gets anything under a 100 in school. All of these children are drowning, and things just keep getting worse. The one shining factor is the strange alien Takopi from Planet Happy, who just wants to help Shizuka and Marina to just be happy. He is given a crash course in human cruelty and quickly learns the deep and brutal reality of the human race. But despite the unending devastation, this anime is beautiful and shines a light on the best and worst sides of humanity. It is a reminder of the resilience we have deep down in all of us, even when the world wants to beat it out of us. If you're able to stomach it, I cannot recommend watching it highly enough. The way that this explores, dissects, and reframes how we view abuse is something that is going to forever shape the future of anime. Coming in at number 9, we have Rock is a Lady's Modesty. I was not expecting this anime even a little bit. I just saw that it was a music anime, and even though I myself am a musician, I just kind of skated by and was going to completely skip it until my friends posted clips of it and showed the sheer unbridled chaos in all of its glory. This anime is batshit fucking insane. Y'all need to understand that competition with musicians is very similar to what you see with athletes. Some of the cruelest of shit talking is exactly what you need to become your best self. And yes, on paper, being verbally abused probably isn't the best way to motivate yourself, and yes, you probably shouldn't have people like that in your life. But there is a very rare occasion where it works, and in Rock is a Lady's Modesty, it fucking works. There is no greater motivation than sheer spite and endless rage, because what the fuck do you mean they said that about your plane? Who the fuck do they think they are? That is exactly what prim and proper Lilisa thinks when she is accosted by the school's idol Otoha after a jam session. After having to give up her love of guitar to become the lady that her mother wanted her to be, Lilisa is dragged kicking and screaming back into her passion by the unhinged Otoha, who baits her with insults to keep coming back. And over time, the bond that they form starts to transcend even friendship. Oh, did I forget to mention? This is an unofficial GL. And yeah, these bitches gay as hell. So you not only have an incredible rock anime with realistic performances, thanks to the innovative rotoscoping of the real-life rock band Band-Maid, but it's also gay as hell and has some of the most unhinged shit-talking I've ever heard. At number 8, we have Apocalypse Hotel. This anime had no goddamn right to be as good as it was, especially with such a bleak and depressing premise. Due to a global pandemic, the world has become uninhabitable and humanity has fled to space, leaving behind nothing but the remnants of humanity. It is now a century later. Nature has started to reclaim the cities it once shaped. Wildlife has started to come back. And in Ginza, a hotel staffed by only robots continues on. They have not had guests in over a century, yet every day they still have staff meetings, still do their daily tasks, still log everything, all led by their tireless leader who aggressively manages to uphold the ironclad Japanese sense of hospitality. This anime is so goddamn charming. Watching all these robots go about their daily activities, aggressively holding out hope that humanity will one day return, is an absolute joy to behold. As the years and centuries fly by, the hotel finally starts to receive guests again. Bad news, humanity didn't return, but good news, aliens did. So with renewed purpose, this hotel staff discovers a new path forward, and we as the audience watch their journey. It's ironic that a show about robots feels like one of the most human and relatable shows of the year. One of the aspects that I love the most about this is that nearly every episode covers a different genre of anime, spanning from the joyful, mundane slice of life to a batshit sci-fi epic. Apocalypse Hotel is so goddamn charming that there's even an entire episode with zero dialogue, other than a few words at the beginning and end. And even that is so captivating that you are glued to the screen. In this day and age of anime, it feels like every single concept has been done to death. So it's a breath of fresh air when a truly original anime comes along. It's even more impressive when it's done this well. Number 6, To Be Hero X. Every generation has that one anime that pushes the technical and creative boundaries of what anime can be as a medium. And this generation has To Be Hero X. This anime is a gorgeous, mixed media masterpiece that veers between 3D and a multitude of 2D styles seamlessly, and ties one massively epic story throughout 24 episodes. I cannot stress what an insane technical feat this was to make. Between this and the massive success that Lord of Mysteries had, it just goes to show that the Chinese anime industry is gearing up and coming for Japan. Manhwa is here to stay, and this anime might just be its largest flagship. It would be one thing if just the visuals were impressive, but the carefully crafted story that it tells through a multitude of different character arcs is also pieced together beautifully. At first, it was a little jarring going from one character's story to a completely different one without warning, but as the series continued, everything truly came together. To Be Hero Hero X is dark and shows its hands in the very first few minutes of episode 1. It really reminded me of The Boys in how it showcased the corrupt reality of how corporations would take over the superhero industry and monetize it for their own gain. The further you watch, the more you realize that these superhero agencies care much more about their bottom line in fixing fights over actually protecting the citizens. And if you step out of line, they've got plenty of superheroes who can take care of you and make it look like an accident. This whole season was one massive setup for season 2, which is going to be a giant tournament arc. And with how they made you fall in love with every single one of the characters, it is going to be a rough season watching them all fight each other. I truly do feel like this is going to be a game changer for anime as a medium, and I cannot recommend highly enough getting on board before the next season locks the fuck in. Number 5. Witch Watch. Witch Watch is so wonderfully chaotic. The way that it perfectly blended comedic slice of life, rom-com, magical world building, incredible character development, and batshit scenarios was masterful. The concept of having a witch, an ogre, a werewolf, and a vampire under one roof sounds like a bad dad joke, and in moments it honestly kinda was. But that's what makes it so great. Witch Watch doesn't even try to take itself seriously. It's in on the joke, and it's also in to fangirl alongside the audience. There was so much meta commentary on anime fan culture, and they even straight up referenced Demon Slayer, JoJo's, and so many other anime. They even committed to the bit so hard that they made an entire episode which was the shonen manga that the characters in Witch Watch were reading. They made an entire goddamn episode and even commissioned 2 J-rock bands to make the intro and outro. Witch Watch is just feel good, but it's also got a surprising amount of depth too. Although Core 1 was wonderful, the second core was even better and had a final episode that had me panicked every time there was a lull because that's how badly I didn't want it to end. I cannot wait for the next season. I am 5,000% a lifelong fan after watching this first season, and I literally cannot recommend it highly enough. Number 4. Castlevania Nocturne Season 2. If the first season was set up, the second was a full-blown no-holds-bar mayhem. It was such a joy to watch them absolutely go for it and do it in a way that didn't feel badly paced or clunky. Continuing right on after the massive shit show that was last season's finale, we dive right in with the harsh reality setting in that, yeah, we are fucked. Everyone is scrambling, dealing with the fallout from the finale, the big bad is somehow even bigger and even badder, and time is running out. I really love the more lore-heavy direction that this season took, as we got to explore different cultures' mythologies, including the vampires of Egypt and the spirit and supernatural world from the French Caribbean. The character writing, performances, diversity, and LGBTQ elements explored throughout the series was truly top tier. As always, Alucard was my favorite aspect of the series, and I am still head over heels in love with the new updated look in Castlevania Nocturne. The animation and fights were also in their best form this season, with some of the final fights in the last few episodes as my personal standouts. I thought that this was a really great way to wrap up the series, and although they could technically have a third season, I really hope that they just leave it with these two, because I really worry that it would just start dragging with more seasons. With just how solid this sequel series has been on the whole, I have never been so proud and happy to be a fan of this truly incredible franchise. Number 3. Chainsaw Man Res Arc. Every time I sit down to watch Chainsaw Man, I know that I'm in for a world of hurt, and every single time I get my heart broken. But I keep coming back. Fujimoto is one sick-ass motherfucker, and he really twisted the knife with the Res arc. Choosing to make this into a theatrical release instead of tacking it onto the next season was the right call, because this was the perfect length of an arc to be a feature film, and damn. Res arc might just be the most impressive continuing anime film I have ever seen. It was just so refreshing to see a full and well thought out film, instead of a recap sneak peek cash grab which has been sweeping the industry as of late. MAPPA was really flexing all of their skills for this one, and the animation is absolutely jaw-dropping. Even though I read the manga years ago, your girl has been a major degenerate over the course of my adulthood, so it's a miracle that I even remember when I woke up this morning. Because of my failing memory, the bulk of the things felt new and came as a surprise. If you know anything about Chainsaw Man, you know what a devastating tragedy it is at the end of the day. I love the lighter moments filled with comedy and wholesome moments, but you just know that since this is Fujimoto we're talking about, you're gonna have your shit rocked. Yeah, I was depressed for a good hour after I finished this, but goddamn was that pain worth it. This is hands down one of the most impressive anime films I have ever seen. And if you've been looking for a sign to start Chainsaw Man, this is your sign from the universe to embrace the pain. Number 2. Dandadan Season 2. I am honestly devastated that Dandadan didn't win the number 1 spot, because it more than deserves it. It wounds my very soul to give it to the number 2 spot, but number 1 is just that good, so unfortunately Dandadan got bumped down. Which is absolutely insane, because it takes everything that Season 1 accomplished and locks it into hyperdrive. This season is so unhinged, and I was living for every single episode. Here are just a few of the antics that our unhinged posse of miscreants get up to this season. Fighting a goddamn cult and an ancient giant death worm. Witnessing the most unhinged and entertaining exorcism in the history of exorcisms. Destroying the house. Destroying the house again. Rebuilding the house out of alien material. Fighting the evil spirits of famous composers, invading a maid cafe, and battling a goddamn kaiju, just to name a few. The exorcism in question was a mere 3-panel sequence in the manga, so naturally they made it into an epic 4-minute long song, featuring the guitarist from Megadeth and different rock singers for both the English and Japanese version, including Mark Hudson from Dragon Force. One of the things that really annoyed me about the fan response last season was seeing how much people hated on Gigi. Like, leave my neurodivergent best boy alone and go hate on someone who actually deserves it. So it was nice to see Gigi's transformative storyline this season and watch audiences finally fall in love with him. Every character this season got an upgrade, and you could see just how much they enjoyed every minute of this production. I get that Dandadan isn't for everyone, and it can be way too much for some, but for me, this is the epitome of everything that I love out of anime. Episodes 1 and 24 were a perfect mirror of each other in how they ended, and I cannot wait to see what they do next, because this story is only just beginning. Honorable mentions. Okay, so y'all know I hate isekai. So why the fuck did I love Zenshu so much? The pure, unmitigated levels of hatred I felt when this switched halfway through the first episode from a slice of life about a mangaka to an isekai were palpable. I screamed when the reveal happened and angrily shoved this anime to the side and refused to watch it until it was time to finish my review, so I had to binge it, and Jesus fuck, it was so good, y'all. Like, I gave an isekai a 9 out of 10. Do you understand what a big deal that is? Any other year, this would have been on the top 10. Kaiju number 8 season 2 slapped, and I know that some people don't like this anime because it's basic or some shit, but I love this. I am a simple gal. I like the big kaiju going boom boom. I like the big action. I like the epic fights, and I love that our main character is my age and not some run-of-the-mill shonen teenager. Give me your exhausted, your defeated, your 30-something-year-old millennial deep in despair. I fuck with this series so hard, but I gotta say, that ending was beyond disrespectful, and I was angry about that for a solid week. I hate that they're gonna make us wait. Like, I need to know what happens now. To be totally honest, I was not gonna watch Clevitas. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Isekai has kind of ruined fantasy anime for me and has severely warped my relationship with the genre as a whole. I am so happy that I pushed myself out of my comfort zone to give this puppy a shot because holy shit. Clevitas is a carefully crafted love letter to all of the iconic 90s dark fantasy anime that helped shape the genre into what it is today. Everything from the muted color palette, to the sound design straight out of Berserk, to the unrelenting brutality that's on display from the very first episode. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did, and I fought tooth and nail to keep it in my top 10, but it just quite didn't make it. The Apothecary Diaries Season 2 being on my honorable mentions list hurts my very soul. But that should tell you just how insanely good this year that this didn't make it into the top 10. Season 2 was so good and continued the antics of my favorite neurodivergent best girl. Now, I get that I am in the slim minority here, but I really do not like Mao Mao and Jinshi being together. So for their scenes, especially the more coercive and toxic scenes, it just really rubbed me the wrong way. I'm eventually going to do a whole video essay about their toxic dynamic, but this is not the place or time. This season was still incredible, and I am so excited that we are getting season 3 or 2 or whatever it is next fall. And at number 1, we have The Summer Hikaru Died. If y'all have been on my channel over the past few months, you already know that The Summer Hikaru Died has been my favorite anime of 2025 since the series concluded in October. My obsession for this show has exceeded even my own personal expectations, and this is now the 4th video I've made on it in 2 months. But how could I not be obsessed? This has single-handedly revitalized the horror genre and brought it back to life. Actually, no, I don't think there's a horror anime that has ever done it this well in the history of the genre. The Summer Hikaru Died is such a slow burn that it sneaks up on you and then attacks you from every angle. The combination of the incredible sound design and sound mixing, along with the editing, lulls you into a false sense of security and then pulls the rug out from under you. I could literally verbal dump about this forever since it is one of my biggest special interests right now, but I will refer to my video essay review so I don't blab on it for 20 minutes straight here. The Summer Hikaru Died is about 2 childhood friends living in rural Japan. Over the winter, Hikaru disappeared for an entire week, but somehow miraculously survived. Now, months later, his best friend Yoshiki can't help but shake the feeling that there's something horribly wrong with Hikaru. When he confronts him, all hell breaks loose, and what happens next shakes their small, sleepy village to its very core. As the barrier between the supernatural and human world starts to thin, the horrible truth of what has happened to Hikaru starts to infect and destroy everything that Yoshiki loves. What makes this series even more impactful and meaningful is that it's also a queer story about grief, acceptance, and the harsh realities of being othered and isolated. The allegory of turning into a monster and being ostracized for being LGBTQ was done so beautifully well. There are no words that can convey just how special and meaningful this anime is to me. So please, take an evening sometime soon, turn off the lights, turn up the volume, and binge this puppy in one go. It is truly a modern masterpiece. So to wrap things up, those were my favorite anime of 2025. Holy y'all, like this year was just so insanely good, and I legitimately cannot stop thinking about how this is the new golden era of anime that kicked off in 2022 and has been rolling out banger after banger ever since. Given just how comically stacked the winter 2026 season is, I have a feeling that 2026 will be continuing that trend. Although there were a lot of disappointments this year, there were so many more incredible moments that far outweighed the bad. What were your top 10 anime of 2025, and did I miss anything on my list here? Next video, we are finally going to get into the massive collaboration project that has been years into the works, where I'm going to be revisiting one of my all-time favorite anime, Frieren, just in time for the new season debut. So make sure to subscribe and come back in a few weeks for that. I did have to cut down today's video so that we weren't here all month, so if you'd like to see the extended director's cut, it is now available on my Patreon, which you can scan for here or click in the description. Shout out to all of my Patreon producers, including Karen Miriam Goldberg, Jeff Friend, Horsey Brad, and a special shout out to Legion Zero. I do have a couple of personal announcements before we go. The first one is that my debut album Wisemind is officially out. I use all of my original music as the outros for these videos, so if you enjoy dance music or would just like to support me, you can now stream Wisemind on all platforms. The other announcement is that I am going to Japan tomorrow, which is absolutely incredible / horrifying. I will be there for 4 months, building connections, starting to establish myself, and making content for all of y'all. If you'd like to help support me as I embark on this life-changing journey, I have started a Japan fundraiser, which you can scan for here or click in the description. On a serious note, y'all have seriously changed my life this year, and your support has helped grow this channel and helped me get one step closer to quitting my day job so that I can pursue my dreams full time. I cannot thank you enough for your continued love, energy, and support. Y'all are truly making my dreams come true, and I hope that you have an incredible New Year's. Thank y'all so much for sticking around, and I'll see all of y'all on the next one.